Hey guys, Greg here, Bone Tactical. Really cool little unboxing today. I am going to be unboxing the Sidekick 640 19mm Armasight thermal monocular. So a lot of people might consider this thermal night vision monocular, or goggles, but it's really not night vision. It's thermals. It's a thermal technology monocular, okay? And I am going to mount it on a helmet. So stop looking, start seeing, Armasight.com. This particular model, like I say, it is a thermal technology monocular, and I'm going to be mounting it on a helmet. It doesn't have to be mounted on a helmet, but I would recommend mounting it on a helmet because that's pretty much what it's designed for. There is a lot of misunderstandings in the tactical community and just out there in general about thermal technology. There's a lot of really cool stuff about this, and it has its limitations as well. So we'll kind of cover everything. Now, this exact model, it's got a really cool bag. I like that it's gray. It's got a bag in here, so I'll tell you, a little bag with all the accessories. I'll tell you everything it comes with. Now I'll show you here what we're looking at as far as what exactly is the device itself. Comes in a little pouch, bubble protected pouch, and so this particular Armasight device monocular is one of the best on the market, in my opinion, for one major reason. And that major reason, just to kick it off, the price point. Okay? So we've got a big spectrum of thermals, and if you guys want to see some really, really cool thermal vision, what it looks like, and specifically in combat, then I uploaded some videos, some of my first videos on YouTube, actually, some of the first videos I ever put on YouTube about 20 years ago. A friend of mine was calling in some Apache helicopter airstrikes over in the Middle East, and designating some targets. He was over there looking at, certain people. One guy in particular had an IED in his backpack. And I uploaded some footage from the Apache helicopter pilot, was using white hot, I believe it was, FLIR thermal imaging to target and then shoot and blow up these guys. And so that actually several of those videos are here on the channel. And that's the predecessor to this technology. And so the big thing that everybody wants to know, that knows about thermal and night vision and the differences, everybody wants to know, is it navigable? What does that mean? Can I navigate with this? Can I use this at nighttime to navigate? Well, thermal technology is not actually designed for navigation specifically. So this uses temperatures, and it seeks temperatures, right? So one of the best things that this has is a target recognition mode, and it has a lot of different really cool colorways, depth perceptions that aid in depth perception over other stuff. It has a pretty decent processor, but the best thing about this, like I say, is the price point. So what we've got going on with the technology and the availability of thermal devices out there, other thermal monoculars. We've got the Trigicon one that's, like 10 times the price of this one, or, many, many, many times the price of this one. And then we've got, there's Chinese stuff, and even the Chinese, it's Chinese rebranded, but they're Chinese built. There's nothing really wrong with them, but they're more expensive than this. They're heavier, they're a little bigger. This is actually smaller than a PVS-14 night vision, so it's smaller and lighter than a night vision, which is cool. And a lot of guys will use this thermal on one side and then a PVS-14 on the other, and you can use like a Raven bridge or something like that to have one on each side, because they are different technologies, and then you can bridge them. I believe you can even set them to be working together, which I'll discuss a little bit of the features and stuff like that of this in this video too, but I kind of want to tell you guys who this is going to be for first, the unboxing and showing you what it is and who it's for. So it's a thermal device, and it's going to be for people who are looking for the best budget option for thermals. And I probably wouldn't recommend using this by itself to do what I'm going to do in the future, but I'm going to do it to see if it's doable. It could be dangerous. I'm not going to say that it's going to be one of those don't try this at home kids for what I end up getting into with this thing. But I'm going to max out the capabilities. I'm going to really see how far you can push this thing. That being said, as of right now, Armasight has just sent me an update for this. So there's something to realize is that there's a big difference between hardware and software, and the hardware is very good on this. And something to mention, you guys, if you guys might be considering a budget decent thermal optic, you might be looking at the Chinese ones. Chinese rebranded is what they are, but the Chinese built units, and they're not bad. But one thing to consider is that you don't know how you're going to update the software, or if you're going to be able to update the software, and you don't know much about the software. You don't have software support on all that kind of stuff. So the hardware on this is good, but the software is a sticking point in a good way for me. Like I like that a lot. I want to really point that out to you guys, that they just sent me an update for this, and I'm going to look at it first, then look at it after, and I'm the first person to get this update. So they have not released it yet. No, nobody knows about the update yet, but it's a software update that makes this even more real-time usable and navigable. So now, when I say the most important thing about knowing a technology like this, I just mentioned that 20 years ago, these guys were operating these Apache helicopters using FLIR thermal night vision, right? What does that mean? That means it is, possible. Well, they probably paid $1 million back then just for the FLIR unit that they put on the Apache. And vehicle-mounted technology, whether it was land or air vehicle or sea vehicle technology with thermal, was very advanced. It was always really advanced, but they were bigger units. Now we're getting into personal thermal technology, and we're seeing, is it navigable now? Because we're just getting into this stuff becoming navigable. Now, why is that? The image has to be processed by the device itself. It has an intake, and then it has an output. So as far as a couple features to mention, this is not autofocus, so you want to focus your distance, which is fine. Set your distance of what you want to be looking at here. It's a one-time focus for your eye, so you just adjust it to what your eye is best set at, and then it's a one-time thing unless your eye changes, right? But so set to the individual, you set this side of it, and then the other side is you're going to be adjusting on the fly, or you just set the distance and you use it like that, and okay, that's the distance that I'm going to be using it for. That's the distance I'm going to be looking at. The fact of whether it's navigable or not is how fast is that processor feeding me information. Is it real time? Is it close enough to real time? And with this guy, I'm thinking it's going to be close enough to real time to navigate. Do I want to be flying a helicopter at night with this at 200 miles an hour? Maybe not. But we're going to push it to the limits and see how navigable it is, right? That's going to be in a future video. And what I can tell you off the rip is that it's a polymer material, which this is a pretty good material. I've had a lot of stuff with this same polymer, and what you don't want to do is, you don't want to expose it to a bunch of UV. It's not, I wouldn't say that it's necessarily as good as a aluminum alloy, but there are parts of this that are an aluminum alloy and then parts of it that are this polymer. I don't think it's going to be a problem as far as dropping it and breaking it necessarily from short heights, but it's a $3,000 piece of equipment. You're not going to want to be beating it around. But is it as tough as the other stuff that's out there? I don't think that there's any kind of toughness issues, or that there's going to be any toughness issues. The polymer makes it lighter, which everything is always a trade-off. Thermals in general are going to be very specific. They're going to be built for your specific needs, and they're going to be like I say, everything's a trade-off. Everything's a balance. The balance between this is navigability and then the ability for target and threat recognition. So your normal night vision goggles that are let's say your PVS 14, which is what I keep comparing it to, which is kind of the standard. Like I say, you could put this on one side, PVS 14 on the other. And then this in specific has a really cool feature I mentioned, which is like target mode or target recognition mode, something along those lines. And you can set the features that you want, and it has some pretty good features where there's good depth perception, everything, pretty good detail. And the difference with that mode would be it adds a little bit of red in there for the heat signatures. So I will probably be able to see even, you know, definitely somebody's heat signature of the body heat. It could get even to the point, you know, where I could see if they're wearing light clothing, I could probably see through that. Some of the drawbacks of thermals are that you can't rely on this to drive a car per se, because thermals will monocular will reflect off of glass. So you could, if you had to use this in an emergency situation to drive a car, you'd have to kick out the windshield of the car in order to be able to do that very effectively. There may be some humidity concerns, which we're going to test, and we're going to look into that. And otherwise, it's just a really cool little unit. And that's kind of the basics that I wanted to cover. It runs off a CR123 battery. I'll break you down right now and show you what it comes with, what's in the package. There's a USB charging cable. I'm gonna, like I say, I got the new update for this that is not out there yet. And it's from what I've heard directly from the guys at Armasight, the new update is like mind-blowing, and it makes it even better for real-time navigation and everything like that. It does have a video mode where you can film what you're seeing. The only downside to that is it does slow the playback down a little bit, so you don't want to really be using that if you're having to use it, you know, if somebody's shooting at you, for example, or if you're driving something really fast. You probably don't want to be using the video recording mode, because it is the processing speed goes from 60 to 30. It's got a little cleaning cloth. This is some sort of a battery adapter. It looks like it might be for using a rechargeable battery or a longer battery, or I'm not really sure. I'm gonna have to look and see what this is. I'm not gonna tell you guys that I know what it is. It may not even be a battery adapter. Don't know. Didn't know that it came with that, and not familiar with that particular part. We've got the welcome to the Armasight family, which is pretty cool. Pretty cool. And we've got a quick start guide, which is very simple, and I like that. I like simple. It's got a QR code on there. And like I say, one of the big benefits to buying American is just having the support for these guys, being able to contact them and whatnot. So we're going to go from this video to the next video, which is actually setting this up on a tactical ballistic helmet. And then we'll progress from there into actually a full review of watching, you know, and really explaining everything that it does. This is simply a first impression video and simply telling you guys who this might be good for. So who this is good for is somebody who wants thermal capabilities in an affordable package from a trustworthy company, or more specifically from an American company that has support in America. So we have the helmet mount here. All right, it's a pretty cool quick release. What I like about this is just briefly looking at it, you know, you can everything is adjustment without any kind of tools, which is really cool. So there's quick release for slide from left to, or a push button for slide from left to right. There's a quick release throw lever for actual attachment onto the helmet itself. The push button for vertical has a throw lever as part of it, right? And then the left right has slots. Horizontal control has slots. And that's because, you know, it's a monocular and you want to put it on either eye. Then there, for the actual connection from this is upper parts for the helmet, and then the lower part here for the actual monocular device is a push button for the little pin, and then just a big screw knob. Everything looks very nice, very nicely, you know, CNC made. It's definitely some sort of aluminum alloy, either anodized or powder coated. It does look powder coated. Actually, I think it's both anodized and powder coated, because this bar here looks to be anodized, and then I'm seeing some orange peel on the actual lower part here, which would tend to say that it's powder coated, but powder coat is very difficult, especially on very small parts. Almost impossible, I would say, on small parts to get 100% perfect without any kind of an imperfection. It's not really a big deal. Thanks for watching. Bone out.